Culture Night was one of the biggest free cultural events in the city centre. I mean, the last one in 2019, we had over 100,000 people. Obviously, with COVID, doing something like that now is just completely impossible. But the pandemic gave us time and a breathing space really to think about what we wanted to do with the event. We wanted to do something that was outdoors based. We wanted to do something that was about the environment and something that was about nature and sort of something that maybe felt that it reflected everything we've all been through over the last 18 months or so. That was really the thinking behind approaching things in a completely different way.
Well, the inspiration of all of this came from the writing system. The Druids were astronomers, mathematicians, poets, artists, and linguists. The tree alphabet itself was a means of communication, and all of this was tied into the lunar cycles, the solar cycles, and being aware of the environment around us, the universe that we exist in, and how it all influences how we live as beings.
This is it. This is the last one. Right.
So these are very important, and actually the Culture Night Belfast dates this year are tied into pretty much the same date as the autumn equinox. And this is an important time for harvesting and preparing for the oncoming winter and the darkness. The autumn equinox is when we've got the balance, the perfect balance between night and day, and then we transit towards Halloween whenever we're at the thinnest between ourselves and the fairy world. The lunar cycle then of the waxing and the waning, and the monthly cycle of when we should be aware of what's going on when the moon is there, is also very much part of the importance of living with our planet and our trees and our solar system. It is a beautiful one. Look at the fingers coming out from it. The sustainability part of this has been a thread for the whole thing. We are in this project intercepting the materials that we're using for our structures from, if we're buying it for the first time, we already know where it's going to go to as its next use. Like the likes of pallets and the wood that we have. We're using those before they go on to be used as pallets for other things. We're doing our best with this to make sure that we have the smallest footprint of waste as possible and maximising the reusability of this.
We're doing this in a much more considered way, and it's actually about working with the space and sort of the aesthetics of the space and trying to create something beautiful that's not about necessarily performance, but that's a piece of art in its own right.
So yeah, we're going to have lights, 5 lights around the spiral and 1 light in the spiral, and they're all motorised headlights. So, and they're going to be synced with music. This whole structure is made up of the Ogham, and we're going to light up different segments of them to kind of spell out different words. I think we're even looking forward to seeing what it looks like. You know, you kind of have it in your head, but you still can't quite imagine what it's going to come out like at the end.
There's 114 units, lighting units within the structure. It's very, very easy to totally change the feel. And another thing that I just realised, even though it's the same both sides, it's like a human face where you think that it's symmetrical. But when you sit on the other side of the structure, it's the same number of branches on the tree, but it's very different to when you sit on this side of the structure.
We were doing the mood boards for this. Neil had found this building in India, the lotus flower building, and from on top down you see it in its beauty as a lotus flower, and that was one of the hidden key concepts that we wanted to have in this. Last night as we watched the drone going up, it was rather emotional because you just saw it come to life. It was amazing, it was ebbing and flowing, it was like it's alive.
And so the Grove has also got a digital trail where you can go around, find 25 different plaques that are secreted in various spaces across the Cathedral Quarter, scan them with your QR code and then collect the Ogham characters and potentially win a prize. And Ryder Square is one of the most important open public spaces in the Cathedral Quarter. Plus it's opposite our city's cathedral and it's just such a beautiful view, and you know, the installation is spiritual and we're opposite the city's cathedral, so it's just the perfect place really.
It doesn't matter what age group, what demographic, what background, when you have a conversation about an environment and you say, we need the trees, we need not to be wrecking the planet, why are we where we are?
Yeah, I think perhaps people have assumed that if we just keep consuming it, that's the answer to all our problems. If we own more things, if we have more things, we will find happiness and satisfaction. And I think at the beginning of the 21st century, we realised that those aren't the answers, that we need to explore somewhere deeper. In some ways, the natural world can be as cruel as it can be kind. You don't just let the strongest always dominate. Sometimes the small things and the little things that matter just as much as the dominant things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which is all this is about.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting. We've only been here for 3 days and it already feels like a different space. It's just amazing how fast people are just coming here and hanging out and just being here, where as before it was just a throughfare to something else. It's when you do the right thing with it, all it needs is a bit of love and a bit of attention and a bit of money, and it's an amazing space for the people.
You're never quite sure whether it's just a load of art nonsense or whether it's actually going to come to be, and it has. I hope it lives long in people's memories.